Hello and welcome. This is my calculator, and I thought I'd just give an update onto the for the Minesweeper that I have on here, since somebody said they wanted to see what I did on it, see how I did it. So if I did actually upgrade it, and so then now if I oh yeah, and by the way, if the default was set on 60, which is supposed to be the medium, but then if you went into here and selected like easy on here, then it'd actually be 60. This, if you selected it, would be 90. This, if you selected it, would be 120, because that's what I had before. Then I decided to put it to these, and I didn't change it in the thing. But if you, I now have a high score system in here, and also after it places all the mines and all that. Now I will be showing you the program behind this as well. But what I've done is, if I hit enter here, then it fills out all the space around the zeros. And I'm just gonna, so I know that's not a bomb. And if I go here, here, and here, meaning that those are safe. Now that that's not safe, meaning that's safe. Ooh, got more. I know that that's a bomb there. Ooh, I'm gonna go for it. Oh, yes. That's safe. That's safe, and that's safe. That's safe, that's safe, and that's safe. That's safe, that's safe, and that's safe. Actually, that's safe as well. Ooh, found more. Found another spot where it's empty. There we go. And these two aren't safe. It's not safe. I'm actually getting pretty far on this. There's a 2 up there. Here we go, there we go. Any other spots that right here. I think that's, yeah, it's safe. Anywhere else? Oh, there's a 2 there. So I mean, if that's not safe, meaning that that's safe. There's 4 around there. That's safe? No. I guessed. And now, any parts that you marked now have a colon instead of an X, so you can see which ones you marked. And it also displays all the bombs as well. Then I hit enter, and it's game over. And I was going at a time of 116. Nobody set the high score, and it'd have the initials there with with their time. And then if I wanted to say victory, then I could enter in my 3 initials. But if I go to, I did finish it on easy, and I had a score of 526. And then I'm just gonna hit that one and then die somewhere. But you can see how clear it is. I wonder where the bomb is. And also, if it was in the loading screen and you hit quit, then it wouldn't have quit, but now I have it to where you can hit quit at any point in time if you're in the middle of something. I'm actually getting pretty lucky here, but I wanna keep this quit. And it's checking if it uncovers one of these, then it fills it out all around it. But then if it's a 0 around it, then it sets something to 2, and then it's checking for a 2 spot, and once it finds a 2 spot, then it fills out around it, then goes back and goes that way, but it takes longer if it's on this side, unfortunately. So, but I'm just gonna die here so you can see that, right? See, I have the high score right there, and the time was 76, and yeah, and I'll show the program behind it. This sets the difficulty, and then label 1 to go back here without resetting the difficulty. I clear the home to just clear everything that's on the screen. I have a menu that says Minesweeper, start, 7 difficulty. Then you go to the label 2, quit, go to label 3. Label 3, if you hit label 3, which is quit, goes to my game hub. If you hit label 2, which is difficulty, then it goes to the difficulty easy-30, and then that's label 4, which is this, and I originally had it to 60 instead of 30, 60 instead of 30, 90 instead of 60, and then 120 instead of 90. And then it just goes back to the very first menu, and then this is whenever you hit start, and so it outputs loading and then a high score, and if the difficulty is 30, then it gets the score for the 30. If it's 60, then it gets the score for 60. 90, it gets the score for 90, and then it outputs the high score because it just gets it there and then outputs it. And then that sets up, hold on, that sets up a matrix, and it fills it all with 1. That sets up another matrix, fills it all with 0. This one, it puts in the bombs. This one puts in the flags and the zeros to fill out, and it loops it for however many difficulty you have, and it goes into a random position within this 10 by 26, and this is the get key. If you hit the quit, then it goes to the menu. And if the matrix, and oh yeah, I also updated it so then the top 2x2 up there is always safe. So then if it equals 10, or if it tries to place another mine where a mine already is, or it's in the 2x2 area, then it cancels. Well, it adds a minus, so then it has to loop it again for another time. But if it's not, then it goes that it goes in that 3x3 area there, and adds 1. It adds 1 to that 3x3 area, and so then it's all set to 1, but then it's set to 2. That means there's 1 bomb around it and stuff like that. And then it just keeps on adding and adding however many bombs are there. And after that looping is done in that 3x3 area, it then sets the center one to 10, meaning that that's a bomb. And then after that's done, it clears the home, sets your coordinate to 1x1, which is the very top. It sets how many bombs how many spaces you've entered to 0. That puts you there. And start timer, which it starts a timer, and so then there's a timer always going, and so then say it's at 100, then I have another timer at the bottom, and so then I get the time from there, and so then I just subtract to see how much time it took you. And so then instead of putting a while loop here, I just put label 10 because of if you put too many loops and ifs and thens and all that, then it kind of gets a little bit buggy. So it's better if you just put labels and go-tos. But set the now coordinates to the then coordinates, and it gets a key if you hit the 24th, which is that one, x minus 1. If it's 0, then puts it back to 1. If it tries to go off screen, then puts it back on screen. And then 25, 26, and 27, 34 does all the same stuff if it tries to get out of the screen. And then it sets the past one, which is the one that you were so it sets whatever you were at before. Well, it looks in the matrix, and if you were in, like, say, that position, but then you move to that position, then that position would be the one that's set to M. And then if you hit 23, which is how you mark the bomb, and it's greater than 0, meaning that you haven't hit it before, meaning that you haven't hit enter, then that puts an exclamation mark and puts a 1 into the marking, into the flag matrix to say where the flags are. And that's end. If you hit 45, which is the clear key, then it's set to 1, meaning you've already flagged it. Then it puts your guy there, and then it puts a 0, so then it's no longer flagged. If you hit 105 and it's a bomb, then it outputs an X right where you hit it, and it goes to 8, which is the ending sequence. If you hit it and it's not a bomb, then that's +1 on the cleared, and then it sets a 0. If you flagged it and then press enter, then it would unflag it and then clear it. And so then it sets, say it has 2, meaning that there's 1 bomb around it. Since it's already set to 1, then it sets it to a negative to mark it as you hit enter on it. And then you output -1 because it's all +1, because it's all set to 1 instead of 0, because if it was set to 0, you can't have a -0 meaning that you've cleared a 0 one. So I had to make it to where you clear one that has 0 bombs around it. So I just did it to where it's actually 1 instead. And then you output that. And then I have it to where the current positions are set to O and N. And label 9. So if M equals 1, meaning that there's 0 bombs around it, then it outputs at your space a clear mark. And then it sets that space to a 0 for the flag matrix, which is also where the zeros are. And so then for that surrounding area, it sets 0 plus A to J and I, meaning that it's the 3x3 grid. It clears the 3x3 grid around it, which is J and I, and so then around J and I input the variable into V, and if V is greater than 0, then that means I haven't cleared it yet, and so then V times -1, meaning I've cleared it. And if it's within this grid, if it's within the 1 by the 10 by 26, then it's good, and so then it outputs the whatever it is to the place, and then it has 1 for the cleared mark, and if you hit another empty space, which is 1, then it outputs that, but then it also puts a 2 in the flag matrix. So then it ends all those loops that we're running, but then it checks the whole grid, and it checks it that way. And if it's a 2, meaning that it's a 0 and it needs to be cleared, then it then it sets the wherever it is, then it sets it to O and N, which is the coordinates that you've set up here, because before is X and Y get put into O and N, but now it's whatever coordinates that the new thing is on is O and N. And 1 is set to M, meaning that it's a cleared space, and 105 set to K to signify that you hit enter on it. And then it says go to 9, which is the very top, where it clears out the 3x3. So that's the most complicated part. And then after all that's done, then it outputs your character to let you know that, hey, I'm finished. And if you hit quit, then go to 1, which is the top. If you cleared them all out except for the ones with the bombs, then go to 8, which is the finishing. And if the coordinates, if the new coordinates don't match the old coordinates, then if it's less than 0, meaning that you've already cleared it, then it outputs at the old coordinates the however many bombs that are around it. If it's -1, meaning that it's a cleared 0, 1, then it outputs that. If it's not, then it outputs a space, meaning just nothing there, that you haven't cleared or anything. But if it's on the flag thing and you flagged it, then it outputs a flag. Then at the new coordinate and outputs a plus for all of it. So then after that, go to 10, meaning it goes back to the top and runs it all over and over and over again. But then if you die or whatever, then it has start timer, which is this one right here. And so then it just subtracts between those, but meaning that right once you die, it stops the timer technically. And so then it checks, it goes down the whole grid. It's like it checks if there's a bomb there, then puts an X. If it's a bomb there and you flagged it, then it puts a colon. And then if you hit enter at any point, then it goes to 11. But then after it's done doing all that, then it just runs this loop over and over, waiting for you to hit enter. Label 11, it clears the whole screen, and then that's the time that the last time, then that's the time that you started, and it puts it to Y. So that's your score. And if you cleared out all the bombs, if you cleared out all the spaces except for the bombs, then it outputs a victory. Then it puts a victory there. If you didn't, then it'll put a game over. It'll put time at the very top there, and then it'll put your actual time up there. But then if the difficulty is 30, then it'll put the string 7 up there. If it's 60, it'll put string 8. 90, it'll put string 9. Then it'll put a colon, and then I'll put the high score for that person. And if you won and you actually beat the current score, then the game over gets pushed over because it has 2 spaces in it to kind of match up, but then it gets pushed together and it has new high score with an exclamation mark, and then it has your score right above that, and it says 3 letters right down there. So then you put in 3 letters, and then it clears out the top space because before it had score time, whatever the time was, but then it clears it because that's where you're gonna input your name to put into string. If it's difficulty 30, then you put string 7 and it puts in your high score. 60 name high score, 90 name high score. After all that, after you input your name, then it goes back to the beginning and it saves your your current difficulty, because before it just restarted the whole thing and it would reset the difficulty. And then if you didn't get the high score, then it just runs this loop here, and if you hit the enter key, then it goes to 1, and that's it. So yeah, that was the whole programming behind it, and that's pretty much it. Bye.